Hey guys, my name is Brandon and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you like what you see in here, you're more than welcome to hit the subscribe button so you stay notified every time I upload a new video. Okay, let's get straight on with today's video. Hey everyone and welcome back to Is That More Brandon. So in today's video I'm going to be doing a review to the 7th episode of The Apprentice 2024. So without further ado, let us see who the next candidate was to be fired from the process. So, at the beginning of the airport, we found out that the candidates were going to be going to London Luton Airport in 20 minutes time, and Feluso basically told them all to bring their bikinis and jumpers, because obviously that was included within the clothing itinerary. Rachel said to both Trey and Steve that 2 girls have been fired, questioning whether it will obviously be another, and Trey basically just said he thinks someone will go, but not from their side of the team. As of now, the teams were as follows. So for the boys team, we had Maura, Flo, Verdi, Paul and Phil. And for the girls team, we had Noor, Rachel, Trey, Steve, Feluso and Raj. The candidates went to Budapest, Hungary, celebrating the 150th anniversary of the tour, or of the country, and they needed to basically give a bespoke tour of the city to a variety of different people. I think they had 16 tickets they needed to sell in total, so it wasn't to clients, it was literally just members of the public, to make it an amazing experience. Lord Sugar actually wasn't there for this particular task, so you could see all of them standing next to the plane, and Karen and Tim both basically explained that there were going to be a few of them moving to the other side of the team. So this is where it gets quite complicated, because I've got a thing, the boys team is not just boys and the girls team is not just girls, they've actually properly switched. So Maura, Flo and Paul all moved to the other side, so Phil and Verdi were still on the boys team, and then we had Rachel, Feluso and Trey move over to the boys team. So in total the teams were, so the boys team was Verdi and Phil, Rachel, Feluso and Trey, and then for the girls team it was Noor, Steve, Raj, and then Maura, Flo and Paul. So that's what it was as of the beginning here. It does get a little bit strange in a second, but I will explain where it goes strange in a minute. For the boys team, it was Rachel that put herself forward, and for the girls team, it was Maura who put herself forward. So obviously one of these girls is not going to win the girl battle, so let's just see what happens next. So for the boys team, Rachel explained that she's a good communicator, and she has got every idea of where she's going to put all of the candidates in terms of the task. And then Verdi also put himself forward, saying that he thinks he's also good for the task. Rachel explained that she's had 6 out of 6 wins in the process so far, and she kind of does this every day, so I guess the rest of them actually then voted for her. And then for the girls team, Maura basically said that Lord Sugar had asked her to be the project manager from the last task. She said she has experience selling tickets in order to make a profit, and basically the main aim is to be engaging, make friends, and she thought the best thing to do was to go on a wine tour. For the boys team, Rachel said they should go for a boat tour, so different history, different landmark stops along the way, with Verdi saying that they needed to make sure that it wasn't boring, and Rachel said that they could obviously do some little tasks, some little fun activities, and they'd be able to interact and also get off of the boat at some point to, you know, see different landscapes and things like that. And her aim was to sell 16 tickets for a total of £110 or euros, and if they needed to drop the price, 90 euros was kind of their lowest. For the girls team, Flo said that they should go high on tickets, potentially asking for 160 euros, and Maura said that if you believe the story and if you get the customers to believe the story, they will sell well, and just said get them sold at 160 euros. Back for the boys team, Rachel and Trey were having a chat about being on the actual tour, and sub-team leader was Feluso, who went off with Phil and Verdi to obviously go and sell those tickets. And then Verdi asked Rachel, don't you want me to be on the tour team? With Rachel saying, look, I can't put people on both teams, there's only so few of us. I feel like there's more people needed on the selling team, because the most important thing is getting those tickets sold for that good price as well. And then Phil actually asked as well, can we sell in bulk? With Rachel saying yes, but no lower than £70 if you're going to sell more for a lower price. For the girls team, Maura said that to Flo, she was going to lead in terms of the facts. She was going to lead the tour because she's, I think she said she is the remembering queen or the facts queen or something like that. And yeah, on the selling team was going to be Mora, Raj and Noor. At this point, Noor actually stood up and basically said, look, I'm not going to be able to be on this tour because I'm not able to go near alcohol purely because of my religion. So Karen basically said that she could actually switch to Team Supreme. So she was actually going to be joining Rachel's team. So that's where the teams changed once again. So the final teams was Verdi, Phil, Rachel, Faluso, Trey, and obviously then Noor had come over as well. And then for the girls team, there was only 5 of them left, but you had Mora, Flo, Paul, Steve and Raj. So again, a little bit of a strange twist there, but absolutely you've got to respect if people are not wanting to go near things that are against their religion. And then actually at this point, when Noor went, Paul then jumped in and said, look, can I actually now be on the selling team? So I guess he kind of was able to then be on that team as well. For the boys team, Rachel, Trey and Noor were all obviously happy to do the boat tour. So again, Noor kind of jumped in here maybe like an hour late or whatever, but she was able to just jump in straight away. And Faluso explained that she has actually sold quite a bit in the previous tasks, so she should be absolutely fine selling 16 tickets to members of the public. Rachel also was told by Noor that she was the best student right there, and Rachel was excited to see her memorising the facts. She said no higher than 35 per person in terms of what they were going in for, in terms of the activities and things like that. And Andrea, the person who actually ran the boat company, or one of the people that works for the company, said that she could offer £60 per person. Rachel asked if they could meet at £350 in total for the 16 people for the boat trip, which is equated around £22 per ticket. So it's not as great as she wanted to get it, but she managed to get it from 60 under her 35 to actually 22. So that was actually a really, really good deal. And Tim said there was a lot more space there for profit margin. For the boys team, Flo, Steve and Paul were also able to try and sell the tickets. So they were told that they were obviously aiming to get £20 per ticket for 16 people for the boat. Paul actually asked for £20, and Martin, the vineyard guy, basically said, no, I'm not doing that, that's way too low, and then actually asked for 26 per person. So in the end, they ended up paying £26 at the girls team. But yeah, Paul, I guess, kind of was a little bit cheeky to ask for £8. And actually Karen did say £8 for a masterclass was a little bit too low. Staying with the girls team, Mora and Raj were trying to get some sort of discount for the wine tour. So Raj asked for €150, and Mora basically said there's no issue with the price, and then you just need to speak to more people. So I guess the two of them were going around seeing if there's any wine drinkers, seeing if there's any tourists, to obviously try and attract them to that, whereas the other team were obviously doing the boat tour, which is a little bit different. Back to the boys team, so Phil, Verdi and Faluso. Phil basically said that the €150 was kind of going down the Danube, and for one particular couple that he offered them 210 for the both of them, 2 tickets, saying that they were going to have a lot of energy. And he actually said that in terms of the task, he had the most energy and he was motivated to sell all those tickets. For the girls team, I guess Flo had a little wine tasting session with Steve, and I think she was with Trey as well, or Steve and Raj, I'm not 100% sure. But she basically was asking lots of questions about how they know the wine is good or bad. And I think the wine person said that if it's cloudy, it's obviously not good. And she said she was asking lots of questions to make sure she didn't miss out any points. Mora explained to Raj that even if they were to drop their tickets down to £99, that would be absolutely great. Yeah, Raj also joined in with selling the tickets, saying that it's Michelin style and it's going to be an incredible day. So I guess Karen here was like, yeah, it seems like Raj has promised the world here, and she said that she hopes that they can obviously deliver that as well. Back to the boys team. So Faluso was speaking to Phil, with Phil asking whether she was happy with the area, because I think at this point they kind of stuck within the one area. They hadn't really moved to get a different audience of people. They were kind of just sticking where they were, because Faluso said the footfall was really, really good. They were getting a lot of people. They just weren't sealing as many ticket sales as they wanted to. And she basically said that the lowest price that they would go is 95 on average and nothing below. And even Tim said that they seem to have been wasting time in one location with no leads. And Trey said that for his task, they actually tried to get everyone dancing. Flo was speaking to Steve and Paul about the different stops that they should do on their trip, saying that they should have cellars, they should have wine tasting, and Steve jumped in and said that there's 7 stops here. We need to have a balance between what we can actually do and how much time we're actually spending, so they can actually do the fun things at the end. Flo said that she felt like they could do all of those activities within the 1 hour. And then Paul basically said the most important thing is the wine masterclass. So if you kind of run out of time and don't do the wine tasting, that's kind of going to be a waste of people's money, and they're probably going to want to have some sort of refund. So with the girls team, Raj and Maura continue securing ticket deals. Verdi said for the boys team that the sales were not coming in, and Phil basically suggested them to go somewhere different for customers to bulk buy tickets, and they had 5 minutes left and had to try and sell all of the rest of their tickets. For the girls team, I think one of them offered £440 and also a discount because it was someone's 21st birthday. And then some of the final tickets that were sold was Phil selling £80 for a ticket, Verdi was selling £60 and Falusa £45. So all completely different prices. They're not sticking to the 100 and whatever budget from Rachel. So I think at this point it was just desperation to get those tickets sold to get people on the tour. For Maura, she said that she managed to sell all 16 of her tickets, but they did seem to manage to sell a vision, with Raj using the words Michelin star. There was also a few South Africans who obviously liked their wine, and Steve said that he hopes there was no questions there about the Michelin star. 10 of their tickets sold for £99 and the other 8 sold, I think the other 6 sold for £80. And then for the boys team, Falusa said that they only managed to sell 15 out of the 16 tickets. The average price was €65. Phil said that it was between $75 and $95, and they wouldn't have sold more if they wouldn't have brought their prices down. And then Faluso said that they tried to sell all of them at 105 and their lowest was 35 for 3 of the tickets, with Rachel saying that the sales team panicked, and she obviously wanted them to have a higher selling price. For the girls team, so a bit of a change here. Maura said that she wanted to be on the tour, with Steve basically saying she didn't have enough time to learn her facts, because I think at this point all Trey, Steve and Flo had memorised all of their points, working out the different facts about wine, what things they should and shouldn't mention on the tour. And Maura said, but I just feel like I want to just jump in, and I feel like I want to jump over to the other side of the team. Paul said to Steve and Maura that Flo has written down a lot of facts about Sauvignon Blanc, with Maura saying that she can have a little bit of a chat about that because obviously she's drunk some wine. And then obviously when she was actually on the tour, her initial lines were kind of, feel your feet on the earth, breathe in some of the fresh air. So I don't really want to be told that on a tour. I want to actually do the tour that I'm being paying to do. So yeah, Maura said that she was totally confident in herself, and as long as people were having fun, that was the most important fact. For the boys team, Trey, Noor and Rachel were obviously doing their little tour, and Trey basically started a chant saying, when I say Buddha, you say pest, Budapest, Budapest. Explaining that they're all in a moment, and they are delivering what they've promised. For Maura, she managed to get some facts out about Sauvignon Blanc. She wasn't really sure what the grape was called when she was asked, but she did explain that it was nice with a white fish. For Luso, for the boys team, was obviously speaking about strudling, and then Flo and Raj were getting to grips with the grapes, with Raj saying that it tastes like white wine. So you've got to remember at this point, Flo already had a lot of facts about the wine that she was going to use on the tour, but she wasn't able to go on the tour, so she obviously switched, and with Raj was doing the wine tasting. So Raj said it tasted like white wine, and then Flo basically said she's trying to remember a lot of information, but it's so easy to get distracted. And then I think they both kind of had a little joke saying, yeah, you know, we know what it tastes like, but let's just have one little more extra taste just to remind ourselves. Trey actually brought everyone to Buda Castle, basically said that there was 300 people who actually kissed outside Parliament, and trying to remember what year Count Dracula was there. And I think the answer was like the 16th century or the 15th century, and he goes, well, Dracula's always around, so I'm technically right because he never ages. So he was like, there's always an answer for something. On the girls tour, so Maura was actually asked, is there actually any wine tasting? And she basically said, we're saving it for the end, we just have a few other things to do first. And obviously we wanted to enjoy every little sip possible. So again, I think Karen here basically said, well, hang on, if you're saying we'll get to that bit in the end, we have a few other things to do, are you basically saying that the rest of the tour is boring? And Steve actually said that he was going to do an explanation of how the wine was actually created with these particular things, and he squirted a bit in Maura's mouth, asking her how it tastes, with Maura saying, stunning. Feluso and Phil, for their team, were doing strudling sessions. They were basically showing everyone how to do that. And then for the girls' team, both Flo and Raj were giving facts about the wines. And Flo basically said that she wanted to do a lot of the talking, but then Raj was actually joining in quite a bit, kind of jumping over her. And then Maura said to both Steve and Paul they needed to get as many sales as they could, with Raj even saying, look, are there any notes floating around in your pocket? Nora actually managed to get a tip from somebody. And Flo said to Raj that her comment of, do you have any notes floating around, wasn't subtle. And she did say, Flo did say it was a little bit silly for Maura to switch last minute, because although it was successful and it kind of did end well, it wasn't the best thing to do to kind of, you know, put her on the spot and completely change direction. In the boardroom, for the boys team, Rachel explained that she wanted £60 per person for the tickets for them to be sold. And she ended up managing to get the boat tour for £22 per person, with Trey saying they could have gone down to 18, but she still managed to get an amazing deal. And Rachel said that she put Feluso in charge as sub-team leader to keep the boys in check, both Phil and Verdi. Obviously, they lost 6 out of 6 of their tasks. Rachel had won 6 out of 6 of hers. Phil basically said they needed to hustle and keep the energy high, and he kind of seemed like the others were a little bit tentative. Rachel said that obviously going down the Danube, it sounded like they were dancing all of the way. Trey obviously came up with his little Budapest chant, saying that it sounds good, saying it all the time. Feluso said that they did the strudel masterclass, and Phil basically said that they did well, and that was obviously the most exciting part of his process so far. For the girls team, Maura said that Flo and Raj had been on wine tours before, and it was Flo who was in charge of the negotiation, so she was the negotiation queen, so that's why she let Paul do the negotiation. And Lord Sugar basically said that he has a little bit of a bottle going in at that price, the low price of £8, and Paul basically said in the end they got £26 per head, but he thought to go in at 8 just to kind of try his luck. Maura and Raj basically said that they sold their souls to get their tickets sold, and Karen basically said that Maura only knew a little bit about the wine. Maura said it seemed to be the best decision for the team to obviously switch her and Flo out last minute. Flo and Raj were having a chat, saying that they did manage to understand 4 of the different wines during the masterclass. Yeah, they really remembered the facts that Flo explained to them, and they also remembered that Raj gave out quite large glasses of wine. In the end, Tim basically said that the boys team, so Team Rachel, had spent €352. They had sales and tips of just over £1,012.50, no refunds, and a total of £660.50. Karen for the girls team, which was Team Maura, they only spent $416, actually that was a lot more, but they did get $1,586 in sales, also no refunds, and a total of $1,170. So Maura, Flo, and the rest of the girls team won, with Raj saying that's 7 wins in a row for her, and she's the only person that has had 7 wins in a row. Maura said that Flo did an amazing job and she's glad to have switched last minute, and Steve said 5 wins in a row for him, he's glad to have won again. Rachel explained that the main thing was the selling, so the selling team were at fault here. Feluso said that they did, she did do a sale and they actually had 10 minutes to go, with Rachel saying they should have just stuck at the original £105. Feluso said to Nor that it would have been the same situation whether they have gone to a new location or whether they didn't, they were just not able to make the sales. And Verdi said that Feluso, for her indecisiveness and the failure to obviously sell those tickets for the higher prices, she should actually be fired for the task. Lord Sugar explained that for this task, you have to kind of think about what you've sold, what your costs are. And Phil said that he did try and sell some of the tickets at £105 and also at £80, explaining that the tour was actually hand-built on luxury. Verdi said that Phil actually proposed these customers that they could get a refund if they weren't interested or if they didn't enjoy the experience. And Trey basically said that for his part, they were quite confident and they did deliver on the experience. Rachel said that they came down on price a little bit too quickly. Feluso said that they did wait for the last hour and then they did change location. And Verdi suggested to move in locations a little bit earlier, but I guess Feluso was happy kind of to stay where they were, because like I said before, there was enough footful of people, it was just getting the right people, and you only needed 16 in total. And Falusa said that they did make €210 in one location, and they just needed the rest of the people to just come and buy a ticket. In the end, Rachel decided to bring back in both Falusa and Verdi, and Tim basically said about Rachel that Rachel put herself forward, and she didn't really put her or Trey on the selling side, which is kind of what he thought and they thought that she would do. Karen said about Verdi that he's now lost 7 tasks in a row. He's a nice guy, but that's kind of about it. And then for Tim about Faluso, he basically said that she's a bit of a scattergun. She wasn't in control, and obviously the lack of sales is obviously the failure of her task. So Lord Sugar joined straight away by saying the sales of the tickets obviously wasn't high enough. Rachel said that she set the price between 105 and 115 euros per ticket, with Verdi asking why she didn't go onto the selling team. Faluso was apparently more at fault due to her timing and not obviously changing location. And Rachel said that the other team managed to sell 15 out of the 16 of their tickets. Falusa did actually try and back herself up here, saying that she was the highest seller in 2 of the previous tasks, and she did actually decide to stick to Rachel's high number, and only towards the end, that's when they brought the price down. Rachel I think she's kind of thinking that they brought the price down straight away, but they did actually last a little bit before bringing it down. Rachel said that Falusa seemed to let go of control of the sub-team, which was obviously the 2 boys who had basically lost every task so far. And Falusa also said that it's the first time she's been in the boardroom. She's never been on the losing team before. And then Lord Sugar had a little analysis of the 3 candidates, saying that with Rachel, he had no reason to put the blame on her. With Verdi, he says he's a good salesman, but he hasn't sold well enough so far. And then for Faluso, as the sub-team leader, she wasn't able to sell those tickets. But for Verdi, he's had 7 tasks, 7 losses, and that, although he's a nice guy, Verdi was fired from the process. And Lord Sugar basically said to him, do well, good luck, stay in touch, which I think is what he really, really wanted to hear. And Falusa basically sold in the cereal task, and Lord Sugar said that she was off the hook for now. Verdi basically said, Lord Sugar said that he'd made people around him proud, and he basically said, look, give me Lord Sugar's mobile number and I'll message him on WhatsApp every day. And then obviously when the 2 girls came back, Trey said he was gutted that Verdi was gone, with Falusa saying that she thought she was gone, but because of her sales on previous tasks, she thinks that alone is what saved her from the process. So, as of now, 10 candidates remain. Again, it's getting very, very tricky now to kind of work out who the front runners are. I still think some of my favourites, Steve, I think, is a really, really good businessman. He seems to be really, really relaxed, really, really calm all the time. He's not 100% right with everything that he says, but at least he tries. I am starting to like Rachel a little bit more. I think she's very just straight, full-on, forward, but sometimes you just have to be direct. Flo, I think I've liked from the beginning. I had a feeling that she was going to be one of the good ones. There was just something that told me, yeah, Flo is, she's one of the strong ones. I think Trey's quite good. He's quite entertaining even, but I don't know if he's just a little bit too fun. I think maybe he needs to be a little bit more, serious, but he is still good. Yeah, I mean, the rest of them, they've kind of had their ups and downs throughout the process. I don't think Faluso, Raj are going to win. I think Phil's okay, but he'll probably end up going soon. Nor, I think she's just kind of there on some of the tasks. Like, I know there were some tasks that she and her ideas were shut down, but she still hasn't really spoke up that much a lot. I think Paul's okay. I think he seems really, really confident, kind of like Steve. Not everything he says is right, but he's actually put an effort into the tasks. So I think as of now, I'd say my final 4 are probably Paul, Steve, Flo, and Rachel. They would probably be my top 4, but knowing me, 2 of them are going to get fired next week. So let's hope that doesn't happen. But if you did enjoy my review, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Let me know down below who are your favourites out of the people that are left in the show. And if you do enjoy, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And until my next review, thank you for watching and goodbye.